AITA. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to date someone who has killed people? My best friend has been trying to hook me up with her boyfriend's army buddy, and I politely declined several times. I am not judging him, but I very firmly do not want to date someone who has killed someone. My BFF and her boyfriend are really upset because of the circumstances which he killed people under, because it isn't the same as being a murderer or having a DUI or something, but I'm not comfortable with it in any case, and I don't think I could be good emotional and mental support to someone who has been through this. This guy is a nice enough guy and is attractive, but I politely declined and said I wasn't looking right now, and my friend's boyfriend told him my reasoning and now he's depressed and upset and they say that's my fault too. I don't think this is a crazy boundary for me to have. I am not judging him for what he did or why he did it, I just am not the best person to date someone with that experience. Edit. No, I am not just assuming he killed people because he was in a combat role. He killed people. His best friend, my best friend's boyfriend, told me he has, as part of a conversation about wanting to get him to go to a support group that BFF's BF goes to for exactly this thing, PTSD from killing in combat. I don't assume that everyone in the military has killed people. My dad was in the Navy and he sat at a desk doing paperwork for his entire career. NTA. Not the a-hole. You don't have to date anyone you don't want to for any reason. Your friend's boyfriend is an a-hole for telling the guy your reasoning for not dating him, and trying to make you feel bad about it though. He said he had to be honest with him, which I understand, but I do think it wasn't tactful to tell him that because there's nothing he can do about it. It isn't like I said he dresses bad or something. NTA. Not the a-hole. I really don't get the fetishization of the army, and I've never bought into the defending freedom screeches. Also, looking at the list of war crimes the army has committed, really doesn't make them look good. If that goes against your morals, that's your choice and your friend's boyfriend is an ass for telling him. Your friends are kinda a-holes though for telling him the reason. They could have just told him you weren't interested. And now they're blaming you for how he feels, when he wouldn't have known if they hadn't said anything. NAH. No a-holes here. You shouldn't have to date him, but he's allowed to be sad that you don't want to date someone from the army. I think this is the clearest view of the situation. It's okay for him to have feelings, it's okay for OP to have preferences, the only jackasses are the friends stewing the pot and hurting both parties. NTA. Not the a-hole. Your dating preferences are yours alone, your friend's BF should have kept this to himself not to hurt his own friend, this is not your fault. NTA. You're allowed to date and not date according to your preferences. The friend who chose to tell was an a-hole to both you, and the guy who wanted to take you out. It was cruel to him and disloyal to you. However, I do think it's good to break out of the habit of giving justifications for why you don't want to date someone. If the answer is no, then the reason is that you're not interested. You don't owe a reason why you're not interested. If someone persists, then it's okay to get a tad harsher. I've already said that I am not interested. The answer is no, and that's not going to change. If you're not willing to drop the subject, I'm more than happy to leave and we can hang out again when you're ready to let it go. NTA. You don't have to date anyone you don't want to for any reason, you don't owe anyone an explanation beyond I'm not interested. I'm a veteran, and your rationale is completely understandable. To be clear, the other party being a-holes, are the people that are trying to pin some kind of guilt on you. You're not an a-hole for your feelings here, and the feeling that you wouldn't be a good support element for him. He's not an a-hole either for experiencing the lonely and often alienating burdens of his war, but anyone trying to make anyone feel guilty about this situation is. NTA. If you wanted to, you could make up a rule right now that said, I don't want to date anyone with a cowlick on the right side of their head, and you'd be in your right to do that. AITA. Your dating requirements are your dating requirements. Your friend can be disappointed all they want, but do they realize that people who have killed people normally have PTSD as well? Mostly likely, you wouldn't be getting a standard boyfriend, you'd also be dealing with his mental and emotional issues as well along the way. Not saying that's a guarantee, but it's highly likely. AITA. I wouldn't want to date someone in the military either. AITA. You can choose who you date, you know this, right? Nobody is entitled to date you. AITA. I went on a date with a guy a few months ago, who, unprovoked, told me he went to prison for accidentally killing someone in a fight. He was charged with manslaughter and sentenced to 2 years when he was 18, if I remember correctly. I know our situations are rather different, but I can empathize with not wanting to be with someone who has killed someone, because it made me extremely uncomfortable just to be around this man after that. I think your reasoning is sound, but maybe he should not have found out about the specific reason. What kind of dumbass lets that slip on a first date? Did he think you'd be impressed or something? AITA. You choose whether or not if you wish to date someone, and if you believe they are not for you, and you don't see this as a good fit, then that is completely fine. It is not a crazy boundary at all. NaH. No a-holes here. Clearly you're not compatible, and you would both be wasting each other's time. AITA. You have your preferences/reasoning, and they should have stopped trying to push you to date him after you politely declined the first time. I don't know why they kept on insisting, because who you date really isn't their business. Also, they're the a-hole for telling the army guy the reason. So unnecessary. AITA. Guy wasn't drafted, he voluntarily chose to invade another person's country, and kill the people who fought back. He is a murderer. It sounds to me like your issues run a little deeper than simply the possibility he has killed people. If you morally object to the military, then there's no point in wasting either of your time. NaH. No a-holes here. AITA. I have pretty much the same boundary. It's a heavy thing to know about someone, and it's okay to recognize that you aren't able to handle it. How dare you have a moral code that you want to follow? So scummy. AITA at all. Your friends are for being so pushy about it? AITA. What do your friends want from you? You've clearly expressed that you are not comfortable with dating him. Are they saying you should just date him anyways because not doing so is mean? That's silly. Your personal preferences are no one's business but yours. You can date or not date whoever you want for whatever reason you want. Also, they're a-holes for telling him the reason. A simple "she's not interested" would have been enough, but they decided to take the chance to guilt trip you, at the expense of someone else's feelings instead. What a bunch of twat waffles. AITA. You don't have to date anyone you don't want to. Also, those are not your friends. I would cut them off because they don't respect you, and are trying to bully you into being their army buddy's frock toy against your will. That's not what friends do. A real friend would not put any man's comfort ahead of yours. Most women who are murdered by their intimate partners. Being cautious about someone who is trained to kill is not unreasonable. About 91% of combat veterans with PTSD reported being psychologically aggressive with their intimate partner in the previous year. According to a 2010 Army report, nearly 87% of soldiers found to have committed spouse abuse and child abuse and neglect over a 6-year period were never referred for counseling, and could still carry a weapon. AITA. You like what you like and you don't like what you don't like. I'm a combat veteran and this was a concern of my wife's, but we talked a lot and she, while not okay with it, understands it may be what I did, but it's not who I am. NTA. I dated a man who served, and it can be very difficult to be a good partner to them. Especially if they haven't gotten help if they suffer from PTSD. My ex told me some of the things he did while in the army and I will confess, I didn't handle it well at first.